I'm Kevin Falcon, leader of the BC Liberal Party and the official leader of the opposition. And I'm here back again in the Cariboo to talk to folks in the Cariboo to understand some of the challenges around affordability, the fact that we've got the highest housing prices in North America, the highest fuel prices in North America, the fact that we've got a healthcare system in crisis. And I'm here to talk to folks and help fashion solutions that are going to provide better results. And I just think that the current NDP government are nice people. Frankly, I think they mean well. They just honestly don't know what they're doing. And we've got to get leadership and competence back into government so we can get better results. One thing I have said is that I've called for the removal of mandates and to allow people to get back to work, particularly healthcare workers. And this is something that I think is very important. The government refuses to do this. We are the only province in the country that continues to force people into unemployment at a time when we desperately need workers back in our system, especially in the healthcare system. We can do it with the appropriate, things, masks, etc., that if they have concerns. But I think that at this stage in time, at a time when our healthcare system, to use the Premier's own words, is crumbling and teetering, that is a really bad time to have highly skilled nurses and doctors and care aides and people that work in the system to be sidelined. It makes no sense to me. On what science are we basing these decisions when we know that the new sub-variants are impervious to the vaccines anyhow? So it just seems to me that somewhere we've lost common sense. And if we're going to make our decisions on the basis of science, then we better make sure that they are on the basis of science. Otherwise, we lose the trust of the population, and we just can't afford to do that. It's great to be back, first of all, to the Cariboo, and Lauren's done a great job of taking me around as MLA and visiting with lots of folks. We're talking to some of the log home builders. We were over down at the Cunningham Ranch, which was a victim of one of the forest fires last year. Listening to their concerns about how the promised, restitution and dollars that they're supposed to get from the province have yet to come through, which is really very unacceptable. We were meeting with a large group of supporters last night, met with the Chamber today, the Chamber executive. So it's been a really good trip. It's really a listening exercise for us to understand, make sure we understand the issues in the Cariboo, Chilcotin, and make sure that we tune up our policy ideas that we're formulating so that when the next election comes around, we can hit the ground running. I think one of the most important things that I try to get across to folks living on the coast is the recognition that 2/3 of the wealth generated in this province are generated from outside the Lower Mainland, and a lot of people still don't realize that. It's important that they do. The other thing I try to make folks realize is that we are a small open trading province of 5 million people competing with the world. And we have to make sure that we have the infrastructure to ensure that goods can come in, through, and out of British Columbia as efficiently as possible. That helps all of us, all the families that live here. So those are sort of the key things that I try to get across to people. That's why investing in infrastructure is so important. It's not just about making it easier for commuters to get back and forth, but for goods movement, for the logs, for the resources to get in and through the province. We've got an NDP government that, through their policies, have created a situation where we've got one of the most unaffordable places to live in North America. Highest housing prices in North America, highest fuel prices in North America, the highest rates of overdose deaths that we've ever seen in the history of British Columbia, getting worse every single year. We've got some of the highest crime rates that we've seen in communities right across the province. Here in Williams Lake in particular, it's particularly serious. And we have got to have a government that's got the leadership and the competencies to fix these problems, because a lot of them are generated by decisions of this government. So when David Eby and the NDP, for example, have decided that they're going to have a catch and release program in dealing with prolific offenders, that means that those folks, instead of being in jail where they should be, are being released back into the community, often the same day, to commit more crime and chaos in our communities. And so that's where leadership and competencies come in. And I can tell you, under a Kevin Falcon-led government, we will have a BC Liberal government that gets things done, that tackles these challenges, that makes sure that we get much more supply of new housing into the marketplace so that we can create, finally, affordability for that next generation to ensure that they've got a credible path to home ownership in British Columbia too. Those are the kind of things that we're going to be focusing on, making sure we fix our healthcare system so that we haven't got the situation we face today where 1 out of 5 British Columbians cannot even access a family physician. That is unacceptable. but it's not going to change unless we get a change in Victoria. That's why I'm running as leader of this party. That's why I'm going to be asking people for the support when the next election rolls around, which, by the way, could be as soon as spring next year, depending on who the next leader of the NDP is.